had Lady Smith Black Mambazo.
Yep.
Right?
And, Miriam Makeba is dead by now, so he wasn't there, but they got basically everybody who was still alive from the old tour.
Oh, hell yeah. What an experience that must have been.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh, did we just fade in on that?
I think we did, yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, we just came from, 2 weeks ago, we did a musical number, so that's still on our brains. Hello, everyone. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And on this week's episode of The Joy of Trek, we're doing another story reading.
We are reading a story called The Debriefing Incident by Very 2, I think.
Or Very E, or Very the Second. It's
that's a good point.
VRI underscore, and then capital I, Roman numerals for 2.
The summary of the story is when he got back to the Cerritos, they'd say, "Hey, Boimler, what kind of kick-ass stuff did you do to get to do when you visited the golden age of exploration?" And he'd have to respond, "I stripped Mr. Spock."
Yay! Because this is a reference to Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 7, Those Old Scientists, an amazing crossover. I think crossing over in terms of, medium for the first time in Star Trek history.
Sorry, what? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
Actors transitioning from animated to live action. Has that been done before?
Ooh, and it's usually the way around, isn't it?
I guess maybe there have been characters from the animated series that showed up in maybe the movies.
Oh, right. Oh, are we talking specifically about Star Trek here or movies in general?
Oh, I was talking about Star Trek. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because otherwise,
there's what's that one called again with Bill Murray, the one with the white blood cell.
Osmosis Jones.
Osmosis Jones, yes.
Wow, deep cut. So, debriefing incident. Do you think this is about taking someone's pants off? The debriefing?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah,
It's like getting to strip Mr. Spock, it's fair.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is
they're not really making a secret of it, are they?
No, they are not. I'm going to set this to be nice and legible for me. Here we go.
Mr. Boimler, remove your pants, Commander Spock ordered.
No, not again, Brad bemoaned through chattering teeth.
Again? Spock threw him a brief raised eyebrow before returning his focus to removing his own soaked and rapidly freezing uniform.
Long story, sir, and began peeling off his wet uniform pants. He couldn't believe this amazing, historical chance to do science on an away mission with Commander Spock. Spock! The Spock! Famous, brilliant, historical icon Spock! He'd gone so wrong.
Scratch that, of course he could believe it. When did a simple away mission ever stay simple? And he'd never hear the end of it. Ha! When Mariner found out that Brad lost his pants for the nth time, and not in a sexy time way, but in a humiliating, about-to-die way. In other words, the usual.
But it was more humiliating than usual because it was in front of Spock, whom Brad idolized.
I wonder if he has a plate of him.
Commemorative plate of Spock. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what a terrible impression he was making. He only ever messed things up. He'd been right when he told Mariner that Spock didn't need his help.
Apologies, Mr. Boimler. I appear to need your help.
Dragged out of his reverie, Brad wiped ice from his face and gaped at Spock, who was hunched over, shaking and even paler than usual.
"Oh, gone nuts!" Brad yelped, rushing over to assist Spock in taking off his clothes, which Spock's numbed fingers were unable to do. When he got back to the Cerritos, they'd say, "Hey, Boimler, what kind of kick-ass stuff did you do when you were on visited the golden age of exploration?" And he'd have to respond, "I stripped Mr. Spock."
"Why in Orion's trinary stars do your pants have a metal clasp?" Brad asked, fumbling at Spock's waistband.
Spock huffed a laugh, causing Brad to raise his chin to stare up at the Vulcan in horror. "I broke Spock again."
"I'll note in my report to Starfleet that zippers do not exist in the future."
"They're impractical, that's all," Brad mumbled.
"Yes, as this situation aptly illustrates."
Yeah, Brad was somewhat mollified, but he still couldn't get Spock's pants down. The zipper was frozen solid.
"Mr. Boimler."
"Right, I'm so very incredibly sorry about this."
"This?"
A loud, tearing sound echoed in the cave in which they'd taken refuge.
Brad scrunched his eyes closed and tugged hard at Spock's pants, managing to get the ripped garment all the way down to pull at the Vulcan's boots. Ta-da! Starfleet ingenuity at work. Brad had successfully pantsed Mr. Spock. Debriefed him!
A few more agonizing moments later, Brad and Spock were sitting shoulder to shoulder and hip to hip in front of the small fire. They were very naked. Brad was also feeling very guilty about the whole thing.
Brad nearly jumped out of his skin when an icy touch landed on his knee.
"Mr. Boimler, are you all right?"
"Ah!" Brad yelped. Oh, sorry, that's not good enough. His screams are legendary. Cover your ears, let me try. Brad yelped. I mean, yes, I'm fine, I'm great, I'm super awesomely okay and not at all regretting suggesting we could synthesize baronium using the crystals in that freezing lake.
Sarcasm?
Yep.
You blame yourself for the ice breaking under our feet?
Yep.
That is highly illogical.
Brad sighed and changed the subject. When will your flippy phone thing be dry enough to use to call the Enterprise?
They're not watertight. I do not have sufficient parameters to estimate. It could be irreparably waterlogged, but hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon, Brad repeated, aghast. Spock shouldn't talk like that. It wasn't very Spock-like.
Do not fear, Ensign, Spock said. I am certain we will get out of this situation.
Brad barked out a laugh. That's not what worries me, Spock.
What then?
You! Brad shot him a plaintive look. Hopefully soon? Isn't that an illogical way to measure time?
Spock hummed before responding. You also seemed disturbed when I smiled earlier. I take my experiments in human cultural affectations do not prove fruitful, and I discontinue them in the future.
I guess so. Brad then slammed his hand over his mouth. He really was the worst time traveler. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll out-human the most human of all of us. Oh my God, I'm doing Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It kind of works for Boimler. I mean...
Captain Kirk's eulogy famously editorialized that Spock's soul was like the most human ever. I could be wrong. I could be lying. I could be crazy. I could be... Spock, are you okay?
The Vulcan had slumped next to him, head falling on Brad's shoulder. His body was still much chillier compared to Brad's.
Oh, there! Brad cursed in Klingon.
He snatched Spock's communicator and flipped it open. Oh, that's nice, he decided, thinking of his own less tactile device. Sorry, my brain went something else entirely there. He tried to hail the Enterprise. No dice.
Spock's eyelashes fluttered, and he tried to speak, but nothing came out of his trembling lips.
Oh, no. Don't panic, Bradwood Boiler. Spock lives a long and productive life. You don't kill him in the past.
Spock's eyes fell closed and stayed shut.
Brad gasped and pulled Spock closer to him. I've just got to warm you up, right? A Vulcan's body temperature is just in a different range than humans. I can totally fix this. All I have to do... Brad gulped. Give him a good old full-body Boimler hug of life.
Brad tucked Spock's head into the crook of his shoulder and brought Spock's hand to his lap. He snuggled their bodies closer and mourned his life choices.
Oh, for the love of pinheaded packlets, sorry.
Say that 10 times fast.
Pinheaded packlets, yeah, no.
Peter Piper packed a peck of pinheaded packlets. Ah!
This was so not why Brad had joined Starfleet. He'd been excited to get to do an experiment with Spock. It was just turning out to be more hands-on than he'd anticipated. Not that he was complaining, of course. Tons of people throughout history wanted to get their hands on Commander Spock.
Yes.
Hot Spock, as Mariner dubbed him.
Yes, also.
Well, the Vulcan wasn't so hot right now. He was positively frigid. Brad could not be responsible for Spock freezing to death. And if Brad maybe had the tiniest of tiny crushes on him, it was hardly the time to act on it.
The fire was dwindling. Brad sighed and resigned his pants as a mission casualty, tossing them in to feed the flames. Goodbye, pants. I hardly knew ye.
Fire rekindled. Brad tried to rekindle some life back into Spock by rubbing the Vulcan's back and sides, muttering apologies as he did so. Wait a minute, why are Starfleet pants flammable?
Yeah, hang on. That's a real bad idea.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. He could feel when Spock regained consciousness with a short gasp. Where?
Still on Krolmoth, still with the worst time-traveling ensign of all time.
How long?
Only a few minutes.
Inches? Oh. Thank you for reviving me.
It's the least I could do, Brad assured him.
Statistically speaking, it is unlikely you were the worst time traveler ever to exist. Spock paired his statement with a small smile, a restrained expression that was a lot less terrifying than the full-fledged grin from before.
Thanks.
See, it really does work as Shaggy. They both fell silent, except that Brad couldn't stand long silences, especially naked ones with touch telepaths. He hadn't joined Starfleet to get in phaser fights or do genital handshakes with aliens. He'd signed up to explore, to be out in space and make new discoveries. He supposed the lanky lines of Spock's nude body offered a kind of exploration and discovery, and yikes, please let it not be territory no person had gone before. But not one he'd put in his report, however.
Sorry again for this, Brad said, his face practically mashed into Spock's hair. I swear I didn't have any ulterior motives when I agreed to work with you on this mission. My admiration for you is strictly professional, mostly.
And that is why you and Ensign Mariner called me Hot Spock.
Brad winced. Vulcans and their impressive hearing.
Yeah, the ears.
Not to mention whatever Spock in his dazed state might be picking up from Brad's thought, which were swirling.
Just because getting to work alongside you was like the highlight of my year doesn't mean I'm happy about molesting you.
Ensign, Spock said, voice low as he curled himself even closer to Brad, I am the superior officer here. If anyone is molesting anyone, I am molesting you.
Spock is molesting me. Awesome!
No, that's ridiculous, Brad spluttered. You are a Vulcan who anyway... I'm definitely molesting you. I mean, wait, don't put that in your report. Oh, I mean, I didn't...
No one is molesting anyone, Spock interjected smoothly. We are simply using the survival techniques at our disposal.
Yeah, that's right, no molesting. Brad nodded. We're just cuddling naked by the fire for our health.
Indeed. Hell yeah.
Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford were going to be laughing over Brad's grave about this forever because Brad really was going to die of good intentions.
Whoa. Almost as soon as Brad's internal panic was over, as if, his body's physiology decided it was safe to react in the usual way to naked cuddling with someone fondly admired.
Brad leapt to his feet, springing them apart. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel a lot better and our clothes are really need dry. Come on.
Okay. There is a tried and true method for this, which is Little Spoon. It's
yes.
fine. You can, and it's all fine. Like when the bodies are bodies, and we don't have to be. Their clothes were not nearly dry, but they put them on anyway. Spock's pants, although ripped at the top, were mostly intact. Of course, Brad had sacrificed his own pants to the fire, so he was just in his tunic, undershorts, and boots. Fantastic. Yeah, that's an awesome look for Brad.
Getting dressed had happened none too soon, because Number 1 and Lieutenant La'an promptly appeared in the mouth of the cave.
The cavalry's here, boys, and Number 1 paused and looked Brad up and down. Her frown melted into a chuckle.
Pants aren't necessarily in the future, Brad tried to explain, grasping at straws for his dignity in front of the poster officer, literally, of Starfleet. We often don't wear them. A tunic is more practical, and you'd have to agree, given that it's what you're wearing. He gestured to her tunic dress and tall boots.
Number 1 tilted her head, still looking amused. Yes, Mr. Boimler, but our tunics are a little longer than yours.
They cover our butts, for one thing, La'an pointed out.
I think thigh-high boots would complement the ensemble, Spock offered. They're talking about a scant.
Yeah,
like they're just
exactly.
reinventing the scant. It's awesome.
Point all well taken, Brad shirt. Anyway, let's just get going. Yeah, I'm freezing here.
Yes, we can see that, La'an said with a wink.
No, that's the other problem over then. As Brad gasped at her remark, Spock guided him to the mouth of the cave, giving Brad's shoulder a squeeze that was probably meant to be comforting. At least the Vulcan wasn't smiling at him anymore.
40 beam up, Number 1 said.
And then Brad felt the familiar sensation of his molecules being separated and reconstituted.
Back on the Enterprise, Captain Pike asked, was the experiment a success, or is the mysterious disappearance of Mr. Boimler's pants a sign otherwise?
Otherwise, Captain, Spock said, and as he handed Pike a datapad, his shirt rode up a bit, exposing the ruined waistband of his pants where Brad had torn them open, a suspicious counterpoint to Brad's own missing pants.
Brad opened his mouth to say something.
Pike held up his hand as he glanced between them, looking exhausted. I don't want to know. What I do want to know is that if anyone else had any idea how to get these two ensigns home where they belong.
Brad cleared his throat. Actually, Pike, sir, I think have an idea.
The man with no pants says he has an idea, Pike says, raising his palms. Anyone else?
Mariner gripped Brad's arm so tight it hurt. I can't believe you lost your pants to Spock, she whispered. Later, you're telling me everything.
I didn't lose anything, Brad hissed back. And neither did he. Nobody lost anything. Or gained anything. No giving or taking of anything whatsoever.
Brad ignored Mariner's skeptical look.
No one else has any ideas? Pike was asking again. Nobody? Very well, Mr. Boimler, you have the floor.
Brad extricated himself from Mariner's hold and stood up to speak. It has to do with the time we went through the Starship History Museum.
Everything was going to work out fine. Dignity was overrated. The hardest part was going to be bribing Mariner to leave out the pantless Falcon situation from their official report.
Oh, that was a really good story. Well done, scrolling up. Oh, yeah, it was very, very
two.
Or very which I
yes.
also like.
Very the second.
Oh, that was wonderful.
It was indeed. I like the little naughtiness of it. It's like not,
it's a little cheeky. It's a little, it's a little pants off kind of comedy.
Just about right.
Yes, yeah.
So next week we will be having a regular episode again, and the week after that there will be another story.
Yes, in which T'Ana. It's another Lower Decks one. T'Ana takes command by Worcester. Okay. So that's not the synopsis. Is it?
It is. That's the story preview.
T'Ana takes command by Worcester. The USS Cerritos is under fire. With Captain Freeman and Commander Ransom out of commission, that leaves Dr. T'Ana in command of the California-class ship, even if she has other things to do. All right, we're going to have to practice our gruff voices and do some swearing and maybe bring a bleep machine.
I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like heavy on the editing, but like for T'Ana, like the swearing is part of it.
No, yes, absolutely.
It's part of it.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Kaki.
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by our chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. And join us next week for TNG 502 Darmok, followed by the fanfiction reading T'Ana Takes Command. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Blue Sky. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.